welcome. We're about to pull back the curtain on the food you eat every single day. Because, behind every meal, every snack, every drink, there's this fascinating world of science and technology just working away, meticulously crafting the experience that ends up right there on your plate. So think about your favorite chip for a second. What makes it so good? Is it that perfect, loud crunch the moment you bite into it? Or how about the fact that every single chip in the bag tastes exactly the same? Well, that consistency, that texture, that flavor, that's no accident. It is absolutely by design. All right, let's dive into how this all works. To really get how our food becomes so, perfect, we need to look at two fields. They're separate, but they're also deeply connected. I think the best way to think about it is like this. One of them writes the cookbook, and the other is the master chef who perfects the recipe. So, let's start with the one writing that cookbook, food science.
Okay, here's the simplest way to break it down. Food science is all about the fundamental knowledge. It's the one writing the cookbook, explaining the why. Why does bread rise when you add yeast? Why does oil separate from vinegar? It figures out all those core principles. Food technology, on the other hand, that's our master chef. It takes that scientific cookbook and uses it to whip up a flawless dish, consistently, for millions and millions of people. So, to get a little more formal for a second, the Institute of Food Technologists defines food science as the study of the very makeup of our food. It's physics, it's biology, it's chemistry. It's about figuring out why food goes bad and understanding the fundamental ideas that even let us process it in the first place. This is the bedrock, the foundation of it all.
So what's a day in the life of a food scientist actually look like? Well, they're basically food detectives. They analyze everything, from a food's nutritional value to its texture. They study what happens to food when you cook it, or freeze it, or just let it sit on a shelf. And maybe most important of all, they are on the front lines of food safety, standing guard to make sure what we eat is totally free from harmful bacteria and other nasty stuff.
Okay, so now we have our cookbook, and it's jam-packed with all this incredible scientific knowledge. But a cookbook is just words on a page until a master chef brings it to life, right? And that is exactly where food technology comes in and takes over.
Food technology is all about application. It takes the why from food science and turns it into the how. How do we pick the very best ingredients? How do we preserve them so they last longer? How do we process and package them super efficiently and safely, and then get them to stores and into your kitchen? It's all about practical, large-scale execution.
And when we say large-scale, we really, really mean it. Just in the United States alone, there are around 44,000 food processors. I mean, think about that. With tens of thousands of these master kitchens out there, how on earth do they all follow the same recipe perfectly every single time? Well, it all comes down to some seriously rigorous scientific testing.
So let's step away from the big ideas for a minute and actually take a peek inside a food analysis lab. This is where that science gets put to the test, day in and day out. This right here is where the magic happens. In university departments and company labs just like this one, students and pros are testing the very principles we've been talking about. They're making sure the food we eat is safe, nutritious, and has those exact qualities we've come to expect. Okay, let's look at a real-world example of how science creates a very specific experience. Meet the hot air oven. Yeah, it might not look like much, but it is absolutely crucial for measuring moisture content. And why does that matter? Well, that precise moisture level is the difference between a perfectly crispy, crunchy potato chip and a sad, soggy, disappointing one. And the process itself is so meticulous. A sample is weighed, then it's heated, then cooled, and then weighed again. That tiny little difference in weight, that's the water that was baked out. By controlling this down to the microgram, food technologists can guarantee that every single chip in every single bag has that exact same perfect, satisfying crunch. Now for something a little more intense. This is a muffle furnace. This thing heats up to over 550 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to literally burn away all the organic stuff in a food sample, like proteins and fats. What's left behind might look like just plain old ash, but it's actually the food's hidden mineral content. And the procedure here is just as methodical. A sample gets charred, then it's incinerated until only that inorganic ash is left. By weighing this residue, scientists can figure out the precise mineral content. This is exactly how a food company can legally and accurately say on their label that their product is a good source of iron or rich in calcium. So,
All of these tests, all this precision, this incredible technology, it all relies on highly skilled professionals. These are the people who make sure that the standards discovered in the lab are actually maintained on the production line. You could call them the guardians of our food's quality. And here's the crucial point. A quality control professional, or QC for short, isn't just checking off boxes on a clipboard. They are quite literally guardians of public health. They stand as the final line of defense, making sure every single product that leaves the factory is safe and meets every single standard. And to do their job, they need a pretty serious technical toolkit. We're talking an encyclopedic knowledge of food regulations and understanding global safety standards like HACCP, which, by the way, stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Points. It's basically a system to stop problems before they even happen. They use stats to monitor production in real time and keep meticulous records to trace every single ingredient from the farm all the way to your fork. But technical skills, that's only half the story. The best QC pros also have a powerful human toolkit. They need an almost obsessive attention to detail, the ability to solve complex problems under a ton of pressure, and maybe most importantly, this unwavering professional courage to stop a production line if something just isn't right, no matter how much pressure they're under. In the world of food quality, this right here is the golden rule. Meticulous documentation is absolutely everything. If a check wasn't recorded, then in the eyes of an auditor or a regulator, it flat out never happened. This commitment to record keeping is truly the backbone of a safe and transparent food system. So with all this incredible science, all this technology, and this level of dedication, what does it all mean for someone who might be looking to get into the field? Well, it means a world of opportunity. This industry offers a huge range of exciting and really vital career paths. I mean, you could be a product development scientist in a lab right now inventing the next big thing. You could be a quality and safety officer, one of those guardians we just talked about, with the power to stop a multi-million-dollar production line. Or hey, you could go into research, specializing in anything from flavor chemistry to sustainable packaging. And the demand for these jobs is very real. Some of the biggest names in the food industry, we're talking companies like Nestle, Unilever, and Mondelez, they are constantly looking for new talent from food science and technology programs. It's a stable, it's a growing, and it's an incredibly important field. So, we'll leave you with this one thought. The next time you go and open your refrigerator or your pantry, take a closer look. I mean, really look. Try to see past the labels and the packaging. What science will you see? Will you think about the precise moisture content of your crackers, the mineral analysis of your cereal, or the guardian of quality who made sure it was all safe for you to eat? The science is everywhere. You just have to know where to look.